Welcome back to UnKind TV, everybody. I'm Martha, and tonight I will be discussing The Real Housewives of New York City, Season 12, Episode 18, Hitting All The Wrong Cenotes. Okay, so it is the morning after. The ladies had partied all night, and Dorinda is up bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. She has hired two very attractive trainers to get the ladies moving, except none of them are moving. She goes one by one, knocking on each door. Good morning. There's two really hot trainers outside. Everybody wants to sleep. She barely gets a couple of grunts out of Ramona and Sonia. She goes to Luann, and Luann goes,
"Are they doing lunges? Oh no, not lunges in the sun."
I don't know how Dorinda expected any of them to get up. Once I'm asleep, nothing's getting me up. Oh no. May take me a while to get there. I will lie awake, think about my life. Finally knock out, done. You tell me, fire, fire, run. Let me burn. Don't care. I'm sleeping. I'll dream. I'm not getting up. Especially not for exercise. Dorinda goes out there on her own and she decides that she's going to teach the trainers aerobics. This is how you do aerobics. Oh. And of course, Luann is too narcissistic to let Dorinda be all by herself with the trainers, so she eventually wanders out and flirts a little bit. And then Dorinda abandons Luann. So Luann is alone with the trainers, and Dorinda goes trying to wake up the girls again. It's not happening. None of them are going to go work out. Leah goes, "You guys are older than me, and you're up exercising. You're savages." So now it is breakfast. Everyone is alert. Sonia and Leah are sitting down working on some business. Nothing wrong with that. Luann is in the kitchen saying,
"I have to have huevos rancheros."
She really wants those huevos rancheros. But so far it's a good time. One by one they're sitting down. And then the demon Dorinda comes out. It's fine. Leah and Sonia have this banter about how you're never really not working when you're self-employed, you're running your own business, and nobody has an issue with them doing a little bit of work at the table. But Dorinda just starts to flip. 1 minute it's this sweet Dorinda, like, aerobics, everybody get up, bye-bye. And then, okay, well, I'm going to check my emails too. Her head spinning around. Remember when Luann a couple of seasons ago was like, "She's turning." When she said she's turning, she meant her head is doing that spinning around thing, like Linda Blair. It's terrifying. She switches on a dime. The group is trying to tell her, you're right, I'm very sorry. Okay, we'll get off our devices. Dorinda comes back to the table, goes, just, fine, get off your iPod. But Sonia's not having it. Sonia gets up and leaves because Sonia, it's kind of sad. She looks beautiful in her talking head, but she says, "I'm not going to mess up this one." Because as we know, she's had a lot of failed business ventures and she's quite protective of her Century 21 line, and she's not going to let this one fall by the wayside. So that's that. She goes inside. She goes, "We're on vacation, but we're not attached at the hip, I really miss Bethany. I know she can be a little bit divisive. A lot of people felt she became too hostile when she returned after leaving for a couple of seasons, and I hear that. But she was just so funny. And it's moments like these where I miss her commentary and what she would be saying or the faces she would be making at the women, because this argument with Dorinda is just dragging on. She can't let it go that they were doing work. Luann is agreeing with her. Luann goes,
"Well, I have a script to work on and I'm not working on it."
Okay, Luann Crawford, a script to work on. Yeah, MGM is waiting for you. Dorinda is still upset about this whole thing. I don't understand her. This is when she starts to let out the slurring stream of consciousness where she's like, "Oh, when Hannah does it, and the blackberries, and people talk, it's just, you go to your office. I don't know what she's talking about at this point. I think she's trying to say, my translation is, it's rude to do work at the table. And Leah tries to defend herself. She's like, "I just had my laptop open and people started sitting down." And we're just going, honey, just let it go. Let it go, okay? Let it go. Dorinda leaves again. I was laughing watching this because Ramona leans into Luann and Leah and she's like, "We shut that down quickly, right? Just tell her she's right."
Yeah, tell her she's right.
They're talking about her like she's an escaped mental patient, and they're not wrong. I love the way the following sequence is edited, where Dorinda is just floating around the pool awkwardly in a floaty, and Ramona pulls Sonia aside and talks about how she's really worried about her mental state. I just don't know this Dorinda. I mean, she always used to have a bad temper, but it lasts like 1 second, it'd be over. Now it's like from like 0 to 10 to 100, and it lasts like 20 minutes. I don't know. I mean, do you think it's menopause? And Sonia recognizes that that could potentially be offensive and triggering and escalate the situation. And Ramona goes, okay, how about I say, wow, okay, all right, honey, you're about 50. I remember when I was 50, that's when I was having menopause. And Sonia goes, those Salem witch trials, I actually think they were all going through menopause and they called them witches. It was menopause. That's all it was. I can't speak to menopause yet, but I will say this. There are times, namely once a month, when for the better of society, I should be burned at the stake. Now Luann and Leah run into these two strangers who are mic'd, two men. They're picking them up. I really think these people are paid actors at this point. I think Bravo just throws $50 to a couple of guys like, hey, you want to be on TV? Want $50? Want to put up with some horny old ladies? Come on. This doesn't have an organic feel. This is not just an encounter on the streets of Manhattan. I don't like when these things are so staged. I know it's reality TV. I know Housewives has jumped the shark. But can't you just humor us for a moment? Just pretend that it happened naturally. Do we have to see the hand of production at all times? I love how when Luann hears that one of them is from Montreal, she feels the need to start speaking French. I don't know what she's saying. All I hear is,
oh, oui, oui, ex à la française.
The ladies invite them back to the villa.
Oh, don't worry, we're not a cartel.
Ramona is very pleased by these men that have been invited to the villa, and she gets this creepy talking head. Let it not be said that women can't be creepy. She goes, wow, this is a first. It's not even noon, and they've picked up 2 guys. She actually did that. Ramona reminded me of Kevin Spacey in American Beauty when he tells the girl, you like muscles? Anyway, long story short, the guys are a pair of smooth operators going on and on. Oh, yes, my tattoo is about the beauty of my daughter and her heart like the sun and my red, red rose and blah, blah, blah. And oh, how lovely. They're invited for drinks later because we need a storyline. It is time for dinner. The ladies are getting ready. And unfortunately, Dorinda is having a very bad case of the runs. Apparently, she drank the Mexican water, something like that. She lets Ramona and Sonia know that she has fallen ill. And Ramona's like, oh, wow, I've actually been passing a lot of gas. And Dorinda says, shit on the floor. And Ramona, hypocrite of the century, is like, okay, actually, we don't need to know that. That's TMI. Ramona, thank God for Sonia pointing this out. Ramona left Colombia, or more specifically, Cartagena. It's not Cartagena. It's driving me crazy that they keep saying that. Sorry. Ramona left Cartagena like a Jackson Pollock painting of feces. I remember that and I was horrified. It was all over the place. I think it was like she left a trail on the floor. It was on the wall. It was in the bed. And they just ran off and were cracking up about the poor cleaning staff. So Ramona, just don't. That's actually TMI. Dorinda says this is bad. She's like, I'm going every 10 minutes. Leah shows up. Of course, they have to announce, oh yeah, no, she has diarrhea. She can't come. Then Luann shows up. They let Luann know about the diarrhea. How many times am I going to say diarrhea tonight? Evidently a lot. And Luann goes, oh, I can smell it. Well, now I can too. Thank you. And Luann says, I'll go get the Chanel. Chanel is not going to work for this. No. Have they not heard of Shitamin? Spraying over it doesn't work. I have heard that those sprays that you use before you go are helpful. Also, putting the lid down on the toilet. Not that I would know. These are not tips from my personal experience. You put the lid down before you flush. That helps contain the odor. And the only thing that works is matches. It's not that it masks the smell. It's that there's some kind of chemical reaction with your nose where you can only smell the matches and you can't smell anything else. Not naming names, but some people keep matches in their purse at all times, just in case something like this ever happens to them. Ever. So the girls seem kind of pleased that Dorinda can't join them, and I don't blame them. I'm happy about it as well. She hasn't been pleasant to watch. So now we're at dinner, and oh boy, wouldn't you know, right on cue, the central casting dates arrive. They have 2 P names. I didn't care enough to make a note. What is it? Is it Philippe? And one says Pascal, then they say Pasquale. So I'm just going to call them PP. One is older P, one is younger P. That's all I know. As an icebreaker, one of the PPs says that he wants to know what's the deal with the group. And Leah gives a pretty succinct but accurate breakdown of the dynamic. She says that Ramona judges her more harshly than everybody else, that they have issues because of that. She says she used to not get along with Sonia, but now she's an amazing person. She says that Luann is a legend. Let's not go too far. Then Ramona starts Elaine dancing. I don't know what music she's dancing to, if she thinks she's in Studio 54, but it does not go with the music being played. It's pretty bad. She just gets up, but you know what? I'll give Ramona this. She just does not give a shit. She just keeps going until somebody joins her. I'm the one that will just stay at the table really shy and nervous and watch everyone else be foolish. Ramona is shameless, and that's why she will always have a place in my heart. So she continues her mating dance until somebody joins her. Luann gets up. So older P joins Ramona, and he talks about how he's in his 40s and the other P is a little bit younger. And he says to Ramona, surely you must be the same age as me. And Ramona goes, you really think that? I'm actually 60s. Actually 60. I don't know why it's a bad thing to be 60 and why it's a compliment to say, oh, you look 40. Because I think there are people who are in their 30s and look horrible. I have seen women in their 60s and even 70s who look incredible. And I think Ramona looks 60. I also think Ramona looks really good. She's an amazing 60 or 62, whichever it is. Amazing 60s. I feel bad for her sometimes when I see that she keeps saying that and she gets a little bit, and they've alluded to this in other episodes, how maybe she has a little bit of an issue with Leah because Leah's still in her 30s and it bothers her. But Ramona really does look incredible. Leah has no problem sucking face with the younger P, so okay, have fun. Maybe it's because I'm filming this while we're still in the middle of a raging pandemic, but I can't. No, actually, even before the pandemic, I am not one to kiss strangers. No. I don't kiss anybody except my dog. It is the next morning, and Dorinda has seemingly recovered from her terrible bout of diarrhea. Ramona is filling her in on Leah making out with the younger P, and she's so horrified. Like she's the mother superior all of a sudden. They were doing a lot of this, a lot of touching, a lot of petting. Oh yes, Ramona, the horror. And she tells Dorinda, she's like, you know, Leah, she's like a colt. She's like unbridled. And Dorinda goes, yeah, she's like a stag. What is with this language? Ramona says, you know what? She's nice, but she really doesn't have the best decorum. I know, we can't all be Ramona Singer. She has the most proper etiquette. I can't think of an instance ever when Ramona Singer hasn't had the best decorum. What comes to mind? Ramona Singer lacking decorum. Could it be when she hosted an event for child sex abuse victims and she made a huge scene and couldn't get the main speaker's name right? This is Birdie, actually. Okay, 25,000 of my actual friends are here. You know, of all the housewives, you hear stories here and there about run-ins with them in the wild around New York. The one that I always hear, hands down, as being the most obnoxious, rude, unapproachable person is Ramona Singer. If you recall, when they had BravoCon and they played that game, Squash the Beef or whatever, where they kept calling up different housewives to hash out a problem, it was, hey, Ramona, who's next? Ramona. They had to keep bringing her back. It was hilarious because she has irritated and offended pretty much everyone. So just don't with you. She likes decorum. I'm here. I'm Leah. Same woman who took lobsters home from Barbara's house. Just walked away. I'm going to take lobster actually with me, take lobster back. Leah walks in as she's being talked about along with Luann. And poor Leah's very hungover. She explains that, yes, she brought the guy back, but he was a bit much. And she cuddled and kissed him and then she kicked him out. She said he was too bossy for her. Good for Leah. I feel for her though. You can tell she's... it's kind of funny because I would be the same way. I don't drink, but I know that if I did, I would be feeling incredibly ill and I would be horrified that these women who are significantly older than I am just get up and go. And Leah even says, she's like, I don't know how I'm going to live with myself if I can't keep up with these women who are so much older than me. They are planning to go to a cenote. I'm not an expert. I don't know why Dorinda's pronouncing it a million different ways. I tend to say things with a Spanish pronunciation because my mother's side is Cuban. She says cenote and then cenote in her talking head. So I'm just going to say cenote. And I don't exactly know what it is, but I know that it's supposed to be some kind of place where you go get a blessing, perhaps have some introspection. Prime territory for narcissists who signed up to display themselves behaving abominably on national television. So they arrive and they're preparing to enter the cenote and they introduce themselves to the guide. She's a lovely lady and she says, She has trouble with Luann's name, and Luann goes,
You can call me Lou.
and she goes, oh, okay, Louie.
No, not Louie. Lou. I don't have a mustache.
What, Lou, you're a little sensitive about being called a male name? The shaman performs his blessing, and the ladies get a little bit freaked out because it seems like he's having a real effect on the environment. It's very quiet and peaceful, and as he's saying the blessing, all the animals start wigging out. Who knows if it's a spiritual effect or if it's because there's smoke and incense affecting the animals. I don't know, but I do enjoy watching the housewives get uncomfortable, so there's that. Now, to enter the actual cenote, the ladies have to go down into a hole. And by go down into a hole, I mean that they have to be dropped down on a rope and they have to rappel along. I would not be able to do this. I would do what Ramona and Sonia did and walk down. I am not rappelling off anything. I would crack my head open. And Ramona is enjoying that Leah is the most terrified and upset, but I would be the same way. I wouldn't be able to do it. Luann and Dorinda do it like nothing. Just Leah's crying, but she makes it. Now, when they all get to the cenote, one would imagine that this is a place where you bathe in the waters, you pray, you meditate, and they treat it like it's a kiddie pool. Ramona's complaint, it's actually a little cold. I'm used to swimming with a noodle. And I love that one of the guys working there goes, what are you, 5? Yeah, she is. Mentally and behaviorally, that's 100% spot on. She is 5 years old. All in all, this seemed like a lovely experience that the ladies very much enjoyed. It's something that I would like to do, although I will say I was distracted because of the water situation and what just happened to Dorinda. I was very concerned. I wonder if that water is treated or something. What happens if it gets in your mouth? Now it is lunchtime, and the ladies are talking about what it was like for them, how much they enjoyed entering the cenote. And Leah says that she believes it really healed her and that she very much is a believer in all of this kind of stuff because she goes to a Puerto Rican bruja, which, like, she's the real deal. She healed me from my ex. She said that I had to heal my vagina. This sounds like some santeria mixed with other new age woo stuff. Ramona's appalled by the word vagina, as always. How could you put a crystal in her what? She said the V word again? Really don't like that word. My mom's side is Cuban. They don't practice santeria. Actually, I do have a very distant cousin who's into that, but it's not crystals in your haha. Tell you that much. They don't practice for little things here and there. And I remember as a kid listening to these weird radio shows I shouldn't have been listening to, Cuban, of course, very late at night. And some of the recommendations were along the lines of what Leah is describing. I do not partake. But this enthralling conversation is interrupted by a phone call. Oh, it's Hannah. Dorinda puts Hannah on speakerphone, and it is so obnoxious. I hate when people do this. I don't mind when somebody takes a phone call. Just step away. Leave for an hour if you want to. I don't care. Leave for 2 hours. Don't ever come back. Enjoy your talk. I can't stand when people put it not only on speaker, but then force you to listen to the whole conversation. Hannah, Mom, remember that job at Hunter College? Blah, blah, blah. The ladies point out, excuse me, Miss Raging Hypocrite Demon who flipped out at the table because Leah and Sonia were doing a little bit of business. What are you doing? And you can just see the turn. Uh-oh, Dorinda's back. She gets so angry. She's like, well, it's my daughter. It's my daughter. No, it doesn't matter who it is. You terrorized all of them for conducting business at the table, which was done quietly. It was not obtrusive. And then you take this loud speakerphone call from your kid and make everybody listen to it. I am 100% team everybody else, but here we go. Dramatic music. Dun, 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 dun. I think they should use the tubular bells. That would be more appropriate. Dorinda hangs up with her daughter and gets nasty. As we know, she's capable of doing 0 to 60. You can tell she's quite miffed that she has been criticized because she has to be right. She will never acknowledge that she has behaved in a hypocritical manner. And Ramona launches into this histrionic, ridiculous performance. You need help. We want to help you. And Dorinda's mocking her from afar. She calls her daughter back. I'm very proud of you, darling. And, Ramona is just, I don't know what she's trying to do. I don't know if she's trying to create an iconic moment. It's kind of sad when we see the housewives doing this. It's sort of like what Tamra did in the last season of OC, where she had this fake meltdown in the bushes thinking it would go viral. It would become a GIF. It's good for them on Twitter. I think that's what Ramona was going for. Let me have a really good nervous breakdown at the table and maybe I'll go viral. Sonia makes a good point in her talking head. She says, I don't know why Ramona's doing this, because while there is a point that Dorinda has a rage issue, an anger management problem, there's something off with her. We've all seen that. Ramona's turning it all into a punchline with the crocodile tears. 100% correct. And then as soon as Dorinda comes back to the table and is engaging with Ramona, being very sarcastic, oh, I know this is very traumatic for you, Ramona Streep snaps right out of the performance. They're leaving. And Ramona starts attacking Leah, saying, you didn't back me up, okay? You're supposed to say you saw it too. You're supposed to say that you also saw this. Leah's like, I'm not going to get involved. I don't fault Leah here because Leah feels it was already 3 people making the same point to Dorinda, that she was behaving probably worse than the way that they were all behaving with their devices at the table. We get it. Why did Leah need to jump on the bandwagon? She didn't defend Dorinda. She just stayed out of it. That's not good enough for Ramona. Ramona yells at Leah. Poor Leah's just there. She's still nursing a hangover. She has this stunned face on. And Ramona's like, you're not getting it. You're not getting it. It's funny because Ramona thinks that she's creating a moment with the waterworks where there's no water at the table. And then she just speaks. And that's the funny part. That's the memorable part. You're not getting it. Dorinda's walking ahead of them and she keeps saying to Ramona, this is funny. I mean, this is just funny. It's a way to diminish what you're upset about. Ha, ha, ha. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, you're upset. What a joke. And Ramona responds to Dorinda saying, this is funny. She's like, it's actually not funny. There's nothing funny about this, okay? It's not comical at all. Well, I beg to differ. I think it is comical. It's not comical at all. You're comical, Ramona. Dorinda is not comical. No, that is sad and disturbing, and it's grown old. This is the first season of Real Houses of New York that I skipped like a month of watching. This was always my favorite of all the Real Housewives shows. I loved RHONY, been watching it from the very beginning, and this season has been so awful and so contrived and lame that I've just let it go. Dorinda's antics are a big part of that. I don't need to see this woman on the Personality Disorder Express spiraling further and further into her alcoholism every episode. It's enough. So that part is not comical. Ramona Singer in any situation ever, yes, comedy gold. For me anyway. Horrible human being, but very funny. Good TV. And that is that. So let me know what you thought of the episode in the comments. Please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't. You can follow UnKind TV on Instagram and Twitter, and I will see you soon. Bye.